Hello, this is Dr. Gerrie coming to you from Vancouver, Canada in the month of April 2016. The purpose of this presentation is to help you overcome any price concerns that you have as you look at the system called Karatbars. Well, here are the top 4 concerns that came about as we spoke to people over the past few months and years. Karatbars prices are too high. Karatbars buyback prices are too low. Why should I pay more for gram gold? And why should I pay more for securitized gold? All these are genuine concerns, and each of those will be addressed. Well, I want to thank a number of people for their wisdom as I assembled this presentation. There are many people assembling very good presentations online for Karatbars throughout the world, and I looked at those and pulled some information from them as well as creating my own. I want to thank Nitsa Nakos and Howard Olson and Nikos Vaccaro and Lloyd Merrifield and Brian McGinty over in Ireland and Matt Reddick. Most of all, I'd like to thank and honor Mr. Tony Boutros, who is he's a business and communications intuitive. He just really helped to fine-tune everything on this presentation. So thank you very much for your help, Tony Boutros. All right, well, right from the get-go, I want to review the main philosophy that what we're doing here is not an investment, but a form of protection for you. See, gold protects your wealth, while fiat currency causes your wealth to degrade. And this is very easy to prove, and I invite you to go look at my Why Gold, Why Now video, or go and study Mike Maloney's The Hidden Secrets of Money. It's the best presentation in the world, 6 40-minute videos free on YouTube. But we do know definitively that gold protects your wealth. Let me just go a little bit deeper on that. I found this chart in a website called shadowstats.com, and that entity does extensive research on what is really going on in the economy. Well, what is this chart saying? Well, this goes back to 1665, and it's a study of the CPI, Consumer Price Index, and you will notice that up until 1914, when the Federal Reserve, or America's major central bank, was created, there was virtually no inflation. Then that started to increase in 1914. 1933, Roosevelt abandons the gold standard. Then 1971, Nixon closes the gold window. And then you see that there is a red line that goes up at about 45 degrees, according to the government. But Shadow Stats demonstrates that the inflation rate basically went vertical since really going off the gold standard. That's important for you to know. Okay? So I want to prove to you that you're actually being stolen from so that you'll get gold now. Yes, I have an agenda on this video. I want you to get gold now, whether it's by Karatbars or otherwise. I want your urgency to be greater than your price concerns. And you'll understand what I was talking about in the coming days as gold rockets. But let's keep to the main thing here. So look, here is a chart that Tony Boutros found. This is directly from the World Bank, and it shows that at 1.9% inflation per year, you lose $1,900 on a $100,000 that you have. And of course, after 5 years, you're going to lose 5 times that amount. So your purchasing power goes down to about $90,000. Well, you might say, well, not a big deal, a 2% loss in buying power, I can live with that. But here's the key question that you want to ask. Okay? Is that really true that inflation's running at 2%? By the way, you know that inflation is really the printing of money. Okay? So it's the devaluation of your currency because of the increase of cash in circulation. So that would mean that in the past 4 years, you believe that bread went from $4.20 to $5, or you believe that homes went from $300,000 to $324,000. Well, I don't think so. In fact, I know so. Here's another chart from shadowstats.com. The red is what the government is saying is the CPI, and it actually is, because what they've done is changed the basket of goods to calculate the CPI. Now that's not right, because how do we know? How can we track unless we keep talking about the same basket of goods? Well, Shadow Stats use the basket of goods back from 1980. So what you see there as you look up from, say, 2006 onward, you see a mean line. Well, actually, way back to 2000, a mean line that's hovering around 10%. That's the real rate of inflation. So let's look at 10%. This is, in this case, this was Egypt that was running 10%. But look at the loss in your buying power. Now your 100,000 has a 10,000 loss per year, and after 5 years, half your buying power is gone. Now, folks, as my mentor Zig Ziglar used to say, that ain't right. That's your money. That money is supposed to preserve your wealth. That's the hard work and sweat equity you put into that money, and it is devaluing. Here's another chart that shows the real median household income, and you can see that the real income of households is going down, down, down. Okay. Now here's a chart from Venezuela at 62% inflation, and you might think, oh, come on, how could we have a 62% inflation rate? Well, maybe you're asking in this video, how could we have 10%? See, when you print money the way America has, the way Canada has, the way China has, it's going to end up in inflation and then hyperinflation. History has proven it over and over and over again. Well, let's get back to this issue of price. Okay, now here's what typically happens when you introduce gram gold or transactable gold or spendable gold, it's all the same thing, to people. They go and look up the spot price of gold, and in this particular example, this was last week, I think I looked this up, gold was at $12.54, and you can look that up either in goldprice.org or kitco.com, and there you will see $12.54 an ounce. Now what they do next is they'll divide it by 32 grams, because that's how many grams are in an ounce. They come up with $39.18 a gram in this particular case, convert it to euros, and then they look at the price of Karatbars, $56.95. Are you kidding me? An extra $22, euros per gram for Karatbars gram gold? I am out of here. I would not buy that gold from you guys. Are you kidding me? Well, okay, that's an understandable reaction for people who don't understand the business systems and how gold works in the markets. First of all, spot is not the price you calculate with. No dealer sells you, and that's where you get your gold, at dealers, sells you your gold at spot. That's a mean price set in the market that everybody bounces off of and sets their margins from. Okay, so on the day that I created this presentation, I went to Western Coin. I said, hey, what's the spot today? They said it's 1,300 US, and excuse me, 1254. And what are you selling gold by the ounce by? 1301. I did the calculation. Okay, well that's between 3 and 4%, and that is about what you'll find. The spread is what you'll find with when you go to buy gold. Okay, so you don't. First of all, the first mistake is you don't use spot for the calculation. All right. Now here's the next thing. Gold by the gram costs more than gold by the ounce. That is just the way it is, and you need to accept that. Okay. Now, if you went to buy a bottle of beer, you went to the beer store, just as one bottle, do you think it would be the same price per bottle as if you bought it by the case? No, they would charge you more. And it's the same with milk. If you went to buy a jug of milk versus a quart of milk, of course it's going to be more expensive by the quart. It's the same with batteries at Costco. You go to buy batteries individually, they're going to be more expensive. Well, it's exactly the same with gold by the ounce compared to gold by the gram. you're going to pay more by gold by the gram. You have to manufacture that gram, you've got to stamp that gram, you've got to handle that gram. So it's, as Howard Olson would say, it's just that simple, folks. You need to accept that. So not equal, not equal, not equal. Okay? All right. Now, some may say, well, look, if that's the case, I buy my batteries at Costco. I'm going to buy my gold by the ounce as well. And go ahead. Absolutely. I agree. Except for a couple things here. Okay? Let's say in times of ever increasing inflation, you wanted to cash in one of your 1 ounce gold coins. All you want is a couple $100. You want to buy some groceries and maybe some gas. Well, what's going to happen is you're not just going to end up with a couple $100. You're going to end up with thousands of dollars. And now you're back into that cash currency system. So now you're going to buy your gas, buy your groceries, and a few other things. Now what are you going to do with that cash? Because if you got gold, you're going to be one that doesn't want to be in cash, in fiat currency because of the inflation. You're going to have to go back and you're going to buy gold by the gram. It's going to cost you more for premiums, etc., etc. That's why people get transactable or spendable gold. Gold by the gram, gold by the 5 grams, and now Karatbars even has gold by the 1/10 of a gram, if you can imagine. So sure, go ahead and buy your larger amounts of gold like many of us have, but also get transactable gold, okay? Another thing to remember is not everybody can afford gold by the ounce. Bravo if you can, but not everybody can. I remember last week I got an email from one of my team and they said, I'm so thrilled to own my first gram of gold ever. And it fits so well. That statement fits so well in the mission of Karatbars, and that's to get the highest grade gold possible and make it accessible to the masses of people around the world. By the way, when I first started learning about gold, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Tom Barrett taught me to go and get junk silver. So I was buying larger gold, but he said for tough times and for times when you just want to buy a few things, you want to have junk silver on hand. And that's pre-1964. Silver was actually 90% silver. Well, the great news is that Karatbars is that replacement for junk silver, and it's really easy to quantify. We know what it is, we understand it, and as I said, Karatbars even has gold by the 1/10 of a gram now. So I was pretty happy when Karatbars came along. Well, why are these Karatbars so popular? Karatbar is the name of the original technology where you put this gold in a card, put plastic over it, lock it in, and it has a security hologram on it. Well, that was the first time when people could really feel comfortable getting their gold out of the vaults because no burden of proof was needed when you go to sell it again. It was historical, and it was a new era for gold. Well, when Karatbars saw this, they said, we can do great things with this idea. And now Karatbars produces the 1 gram, the 2.5 gram, the 5 gram. It's LBMA gold, which is gold that can be used for money. It's the best in the world. And of course, it's transaction friendly. These cards are durable. You can boil them, you can freeze them, you can bury them. It's amazing. But if you start carrying around gold by the gram, you're going to lose it. And this is also called securitized private gold. Look at this. In these cards, you can see that on the gold itself, it's stamped in various different ways. It's got a serial number on it. You can look at it under a black light. We can prove, folks, that this is gold. Now, Karatbars has taken it even a step further. We've got something called DNA technology. And you can buy one of these testers for your gold, and you can know right away that it's the real deal. And this is going to come in handy for the K-Exchange stores, which I'll tell you about in a minute. So basically, it's the most secure gold money system on the planet. Karatbars has thought about everything. It's the Mercedes of gold. It's high performance gold. You wouldn't go to buy a Mercedes and then start questioning the price over what you'd buy from a normal economy car, would you? No, you wouldn't. And so we don't do that with Karatbars either. Okay? So why the big demand for securitized gold. Well, guess what? There is a fraud going on out there in the world of gold. Look at that picture above. That was a beautiful 10-ounce bar. It looked perfect, but they discovered that someone had put tungsten in it, which weighs almost the same amount of gold. Here to the right of that, you'll see a picture of someone who drilled into a bar and saw right away that it was tungsten inside. The ever-famous Pomp Swiss, someone got fooled by those packages. Coins have tungsten in them, so we have to be careful. Well, what's the best way to be careful? And that is to get securitized gold. Here are a few headlines, and I could have dug these up all day long, but I thought I'd throw a few of them up there. Of counterfeit is on the rise. Now let's take a look at the price comparison with the competitors of Karatbars. So there's a 1 gram Karatbar, a 2.5, and a 5 gram. Now this comparison was done back in March of 2015, so the prices have gone up a little. So here we go with Purest gold at 88 euros. They didn't have a 2.5 and a 5. Here's UBS, and here's Swiss gold. So all of these prices are significantly higher than the Karatbars 1 gram at this time in history. And there again is the Purest, quite a bit more expensive than the Karatbars 5 gram as well, and same with the UBS. So Karatbars stands above price-wise in its class. Well, people also ask, what about the buyback price? Let's look at that chart. So under the column called J&M per gram, J&M is one of the gold companies in the Vancouver area, very reputable. So on the day that I was doing this research, I called them up. I said, how much is your gram? 51.41. What's your buyback? 31.52. And then I calculated the spread at 31%. Okay. Now, for those of you who are new, you might think, 31%? Are you kidding me? So I buy the gold, and if I go to sell it next week, I'm going to lose 31%. Yes, you are. That's the market. That's how it works. Now, we're not buying gold to buy and sell. We're buying gold to save gold. And in the coming months or years, we are then going to use that gold to buy through the K-exchange system. And it'll be a very different methodology of selling it when that comes. So let's look at the third column, Karatbars per gram. Okay, 56 euros. And the buyback on this particular day was 37.95. So I wanted to do a comparison on that. Well, that spread was 33%, so a little more than the J&M. Now, at Karatbars, we get a 3% discount on our gold. So I did the calculation with that. Now we're down to 30% on the spread. You can also be part of a system in Karatbars where you spread the word, and there's no cost to you for this. You can just tell others about it and share something called an affiliate link. And as your team grows, your group of people that spread the word, you can actually earn up to another 6% discount on your gold. And so now that spread goes down to 27%. So also on top of all this, know that you can be part of the business part of Karatbars, and that's not the purpose of this video, but you can be. And you could earn your gold at greater subsidies and even get it at no cost from bonuses. So you can ask the person who sent you to this video how that all works. Well, we're still talking about the buyback. You might still be a little bit shocked that it runs in the 30% range to buy your gold back. Well, remember this chart where inflation was running at 2%? Okay, and remember this chart where it was at the real rate was 10%. So here's what's going to happen. Gold is going to go up because the value of currencies continues to go down. Gold is going to go up. It's going to go to 2,000 and higher. Well, that 30% in the future will be of zero concern to you because the cost of gold will have gone up so much. So believe me, you will just completely forget about it. It won't be an issue at all. Well, let's look at one of the most significant aspects of Karatbars, and that is the K-exchange system, that you're going to be able to use this gold within this system. You'll even be able to benefit as you get other people involved in the K-exchange system, and that too will affect the price of your gold. So more on that in another video. Well, let's go back to the original price objections. Karatbars prices are too high. Well, remember that you cannot divide by 32 and expect to compare. You don't use the spot price. Gram gold is more expensive than gold by the ounce. That's just the way it is. And securitized gold is more expensive than regular gram gold. Okay? Second concern was Karatbars buyback prices are too low. Well, the 30% buyback is normal in the industry. Remember that you're not investing, and that amount compared to gold's increase over the years will end up being virtually unthinkable. Okay, third, why should I pay more for gram gold? Well, you're going to need transactional or spendable gold, and it will actually save you money because you won't need to cash in your ounce gold. Lastly, why should I pay more for Karatbars securitized gold? Well, no risk of fraud, no paying for assaying when you go to cash it. Easy to trade. And of course, you get to engage in the worldwide K-exchange commerce system where there will be not thousands, but millions of stores. Remember that even though Karatbars is a far superior product, it's only a little more expensive than regular gram gold after discounts. And you're getting the Mercedes of gold. You're paying for the comfort of knowing that your gold is protected. It's securitized. There's going to be no costs or lineups for assaying on the sell side. That's pretty important. Okay. You can engage in a system to get your gold subsidized and even at no cost. Remember that. So ask the person about the business side of this, the person that brought you to this. You know, you're backed by a company with a mission of getting gold for the masses. You're going to be able to use it in the K-exchange network. As you can tell, I'm really emphasizing that. Also, with this gold system, you're engaging in an alternate economy, and it's independent of the central banking and fiat currency system. And for those of you in the know, you realize how important that is. For those of you who are not, keep researching and you will understand, okay? So this is private, unregistered gold, completely legal, but it's classified as private, unregistered gold. Nobody needs to know that you have it. It's nobody's business, okay? And of course, people all over the world are going to be able to acquire, and are doing it now, acquiring goods and services and engaging in an off-grid gold commerce system called K-exchange. I think it's also important to remind you that, you know, we've all been taking a beating financially here, and you understand why now with that 10% inflation. The middle class is disappearing, and the poor are getting poorer. Here's a way to help. Here's a way to turn that around. And you are getting gold for yourself, and by engaging in this system, you can help other people do the same. And for those who are struggling financially, you can even introduce them to having their own home-based business. Can you imagine a home-based business that is helping people get gold around the world? It's incredible, folks. So I hope those questions, those concerns were addressed. This has been Dr. Greg Gerrie. Please get back to the person that sent you to this video and tell them, hey, I've got no more concerns about price. Let's get started. Thank you very much.